By the way, over there is the entrance to a single-track mountain bike trail. We are not going to do that on this bike. All right, so let's see how we do on this single-track mountain bike trail. Oh, that's steep. That is steep. I don't know where the trail is. How do I get out of here? Tiny, tiny hill. It's crushing this bike. This thing is struggling. And I hear that the motors are giving me, there's almost like blips in power in the motors now. There's just so little battery left. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a range test on the Aniioki 88 Promax dual motor. Now I've already gone almost 27 miles on today's ride. What I did was I rode around, I filmed the entire review ride and one other video where I was just riding around and talking, and I also filmed a small off-roading ride. So we've already done 26 miles, and so what we're gonna do is just keep riding around, and currently the battery bar on the display is showing me about 75% full. Voltage is at 51 volts. We started off the trip at 58 volts. So if you guys are watching this video, you would have already seen the off-road test, the review ride, and one of the videos where I was riding around talking about electric e-bikes. So we're gonna just continue on this ride and see what kind of range we get. We're doing essentially throttle only most of the ride. I am not going slow, because if you're getting a bike like this with dual motors over 3,000 watts, you're not going to be getting a bike like this to go slow. You're going to be using that power. And that's something that I like a lot about this setup. It has a huge 60 amp hour 52 volt battery. If you have one motor with that type of battery, you're going to be riding that bike all day, or at least a huge portion of the day. Let's just say your rear end will be sore before the bike gives out. You could probably ride that bike for 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours, and the battery still won't give up. But with this bike, since it does have the two motors, it's gonna eat up that battery a lot faster, and you'll get a reasonable, I don't know, maybe 2 hours of riding with this bike, which is still quite a bit for a lot of people. But you'll have a lot more fun doing it, because you could do stuff like this. You could just rip through a neighborhood going 30 to 40 miles an hour easily, and still not really have all that much range anxiety. Sometimes for these long distance range tests, I go on a rail trail in my state, but I don't feel like this bike is really appropriate for that. Let's go up this steep long hill. I don't really feel like this bike is appropriate for that trail because it's got so much power. I want to go fast. I want to open that throttle up, and I'm definitely limited on that trail. So we're going to keep it on the back roads today so we can actually get a decent amount of speed. Look at this. We could still get almost up to 40 miles an hour with a semi-drained battery. That is great. Going down this hill, I know that front brake rotor will not overheat because of its enormous size, but we can get to an insane speed going downhill because these motors seem to be higher RPM motors than what I typically see on a lot of bikes. They throttle all the way up to 50-something miles an hour. So you're going to be getting some serious speed out of this bike. Come to a complete stop so I don't get yelled at in the comments and I can enjoy those brakes. What I do notice is as the battery drains, the acceleration does become more reasonable. At full battery, you're going to be peeling out all the time from a dead stop. I tried to adjust the settings, the soft start settings. It didn't seem like it did anything. Only once you're at 50 to 75% battery, only then does it seem like you get a reasonable start. You don't constantly peel out that front wheel. We're gonna head over to a local park in my area, see what's going on there. It is getting a little bit colder in New England. Earlier it was in the 50s, now I think we're in the 60s. It's sunny. I do have these heated gloves on. You guys can check them out in the link in the description below. Couple accessories I put on this bike. My Gub phone mount right over here. Super secure phone mount. Michow mirror, which did take a little bit of modification to install onto this bike. I'll probably make a separate video for you guys on how to install a mirror there. But if you want to check out those accessories, they are listed in the description below. And if you do want to check out this bike, it is also listed in the description below, along with any coupon codes, discounts that I can give you. As of the time of recording this video, my code will save you $50, and According to Aniioki, this is what they told me. If you use my link in the description below, you get a free air fork upgrade and a free basket upgrade. I think you also get some mirrors as well. So if you guys want to buy this bike, feel free to check that out. It will help support this channel at no extra cost to you. And it's going to help support modding this bike. I want to do a couple fun mods to this bike. I want to add some tall ape hangers. I think it's going to look epic. There we go, going uphill. No problem with two motors. I've gone up this hill a bunch of times, even with a high-power single rear motor. Going up this hill. Yeah, dual motors just conquers everything. Unless you have an insanely high-powered direct drive motor that's pushing maybe 100 or more amps, you're not going to touch a dual motor setup like this. It's a very quiet neighborhood. So we just crossed into 30 miles. We're almost at 31 miles. And when I do accelerate, there is a voltage drop below 50 volts. We'll see how this bike does, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, over there is the entrance to a single-track mountain bike trail. We are not going to do that on this bike. All right, so let's see how we do on this single-track mountain bike trail. Use of motorized scooters, dirt bikes, and all-terrain vehicles, ATV, is prohibited in public parks. Okay. So this is not a motorized vehicle because typically those are combustion engine vehicles. Electric, believe it or not, is not considered a motorized vehicle. Let's rip it, guys. Let's see how we do. Going up this hill. Oh, that's steep. That is steep. This is not a bike you should be taking here. But it's fun to try it out anyway. See that jump? We're not doing that jump. But we can test the brakes. Let's test out the brakes. The brake rotors on this bike are massive. That's going to give it good stopping power, and it's going to make it so that the brakes don't fade. Sometimes brake rotors, they heat up. Going up. Sometimes brake rotors heat up during heavy stopping, and they cause the brake pads to then fade, and they're not going to stop effectively. But because there's so much metal, there's a lot of room for heat to dissipate, and so that'll give it a lot more stopping power for a lot longer. Let's continue on. I don't know where the trail is. Let's go over here. Just crush it with this thing. I don't know where I am, but I feel like I can go anywhere on this bike. With the dual motors and the range, this thing is a great little adventuring bike. Yeah, this is definitely not the trail, but we can make any trail we want. Let's go down here. All right. Moving on. How do I get out of here? Is that a way out? Just rip over all these logs. All right, this has turned into a little bit of an off-road range test. Okay, let's go down this little drop right here. Easy peasy. Let's get out of here before we get beat up by mountain bikers. Oh. I gotta adjust that front brake. It is rubbing a tiny bit. Let's see what's over here. Another little off-road section. It's just nothing for this bike. I'm not pedaling at all, guys. Oh, it's a disc golf course. Let's get out of here before we get beat up by a bunch of angry disc golfers. If you guys hear a little bit of rattling, that's the battery. I think that's easily fixable. I'm gonna put something underneath to make sure it sits tighter in the battery cavity. But besides that, there are no other noises coming out of this bike. Sometimes with these budget bikes, you hear rattling all over, and this one seems to be solid. What's cool about this one is that you can go from technical off-roading to just flying down the road. This bike will just give you freedom to go wherever you want. Check this place out. Nice little park. This thing seems like it's fairly nimble for such a big bike. Not bad with cornering, and then we just go right up all these roots so easily. I love the power on this thing. Fly across this field. I think I'm allowed here. It's not a combustion engine, so it is non-motorized, I think. Looks like we got a little baseball field over here. Look at that, muzzy fields. So with electric bicycles, you really just get so much freedom. That's one of the benefits about electric bicycles, especially ones that are high power and have a big battery. In most places, as long as you're not riding around like a crazy person, you can go in areas where people walk. If your bike has pedals, you'll probably be just fine. But then you can jump on the road and go 40 miles an hour on a bike like this. And with this amount of battery, you can do that for a really long time. Alright, so we're almost at 35 miles. Battery percentage is still at 49 volts. We're going to keep running around and check in with you guys in a bit.
One eternity later.
Alright guys, I'm checking in. We are at 41 miles. Still just cruising around. Dual motor mode. No pedaling. I do feel the power dipping down a tiny bit. But if you notice, we're still getting plenty of speed. My rear end is starting to not enjoy this ride. I like to do at most maybe 30 miles and take some breaks along the way. And I really haven't taken too many breaks on this bike. I've just been riding this thing around non-stop because it could just go. So much battery. I have virtually no range anxiety on this bike. But we're going to keep at it, folks. We'll keep going. I want to get to at least 50 miles and then let you guys know what the battery voltage is at. Now when I accelerate this bike, it's not really going to peel out like it used to. So we're on level 5 right now. Here we go. Yeah, see? Let's try that again. Level 5, full acceleration. Tiny, tiny bit of wheel spin up front. So you definitely lose some power as that battery drains. Which, trust me guys, you don't want that front wheel to constantly spin out. That does get annoying after a while. I know it looks cool on camera, but it does get old real quick. Downhill speed, we can still easily reach 40. I am noticing at certain times the throttle for one of the motor cuts out and then comes back in. I have no idea what's going on there, and it only does that on rare occasions. No idea why. It's completely random. There's a big hill right here. Let's go up this hill. Throttle only. Alright, looks like the battery is now dipping down to 47.7 volts. We're at 43 miles. But look at this. Going up a steep hill, dual motor, throttle only, not a problem for this bike at all. I think if I did have a comfier seat for this bike, it would feel better to ride for a longer time, and that is one of the mods that I will be installing on this bike, so you guys stay tuned for future videos on that. We're really betting these brakes in today, going up and down, all kinds of terrain. Yeah, coming out of that corner, I could definitely feel there is a difference in acceleration. But for most of you guys, for most riding, this battery will just not give up. I don't even know where I am right now, but this is a nice neighborhood, so we're going to keep on going. Oh yeah, we're not getting as much power as we used to, for sure. That's a busy road up ahead, so we're going to turn it around and head on back. Today's range test was a mix of everything. We did some off-roading, the review ride, but for the most part, we're just hanging out on the roads, dual motor, throttle only. Oh yeah, this bike is starting to slow down for sure. We're almost at 45 miles. We'll get to 50 miles today, and we'll see what the battery voltage is. My butt is definitely not feeling all that great. I'm starting to shift side to side. Look at this. Oh, so we got a hill right here. Oh, yeah, we're slowing down, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Oh, see? Oh, did you guys see that? So it sounded like the throttle on one of the motors cut out. But then the throttle jumped back in. No idea what that is. Hopefully that doesn't get worse. And if it does persist, I will be making a video on my experience with Aniioki customer service, because I'll have to get that fixed. Yep, there it is. There it went again. It cut out for a second, and then the throttle jumped back in. Oh, there it is again. Very strange. Very, very strange. So we are not getting anywhere close to the amount of power that we used to. Look at this. Normally we'd be ripping up the street, but we're barely going 20 miles an hour. Wow. Seems like we are nearing the end, ladies and gentlemen. I do want my 50 miles, and we will get there. Let's see where the acceleration is now. So we're at level 5. Dual motors. Here we go. No wheel spin at all. This feels like the acceleration of a normal e-bike now. Yeah, look at that. Watch this. Ready? Yeah, look at that. Nice and slow. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to our testing site and test out the steep hill climb area. Oh boy, you can really tell this thing has lost a lot of power. Battery is now showing 46 volts. Wow, we are really slowing down, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Took us forever to get to 20. Wow. Seems like the speed really drops off after a certain battery percentage on this bike. Like, I'm struggling right now to maintain 20, going up a very mild hill. This bike is struggle busting it. We'll keep going. I really want to get 50 miles. Look at this. I don't think we'll go faster than 25. Let's see what the new 0 to 20 is. Throttle only. 3, 2, 1, go. No wheel spin whatsoever. You know what's funny? Some bikes that I've tried on full charge are that fast. You can imagine how slow they are at a lower charge. But some might argue that this e-bike we're on right now isn't even an e-bike. Check it out, my heated gloves have been going this whole time. It's been 3 hours 46 minutes and they're still holding strong. Alright, let's see what the main hill climb test looks like at this battery level. Here we go. Stopping at the sewer grate. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're struggling. Oh, we're struggling. Look at how slow this is. Wow. Wow, that was... Wow. Okay, I hear the motors almost like they're giving out. They're just gasping for power. And there's almost like there's blips in power on the motors now. I can't feel it, but I can hear it. This is really struggling. We're gonna turn around and go up and down this road one more time. But ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna call it. We're at 48 miles. Probably hit 50 if I just went up and down this road a little bit more, but this bike is really struggling to go up any hill now. Like, watch this. This little mild hill right here, it's crushing this bike. 11 miles an hour going up, 10 miles an hour going up this tiny, tiny hill. This thing is struggling. And I hear that the motors are giving me, there's almost like blips in power in the motors now. There's just so little battery left. Battery voltage is reading 48.4 volts. I'm not sure about the accuracy about that voltage. We're going to test it out later. We'll get the bike back inside. We'll check the voltage using the voltmeter. Now it's showing 46.2, but we're barely getting any power now. Let's see what single motor feels like. So it switched to rear motor. Oh, oh wow. Feels about the same. Front motor, dual motor, virtually no change whatsoever in power levels. I don't know if you guys can hear that. These motors do not want to work. They're running on fumes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it because realistically, you're probably not going to be riding your bike when it's performing like this, when there is no battery left, when there's no power left in the bike. Look at this. It's giving us almost nothing. I would say, for the most part, we've taken all we can from this battery. So if you guys have enjoyed this range test, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to check out this bike, it is listed in the description below, along with any coupon codes listed. Using that link will help support this channel, and according to Aniioki, you guys are also going to get a free air fork upgrade and a free rear basket when you use that link. My GPS distance right now says 49 miles, and my rear end cannot take any more of this. That's it for today, folks. Until next time.
And after riding around for almost 4 hours, almost 50 miles, the voltage is 47.58 volts. And after putting the battery back in, it looks like the voltage on the display is very similar. We're seeing 46.8 volts.